Just a little backstory here is that I met today's speaker when she was single digits years old. And so I'm now expressing how old I am. But my takeaway from first meeting her is that she was the bubbliest and the bundle of energy. And it was absolutely no surprise to me when I heard that WPHL took her from an intern to a member of their staff because they knew they had to keep her and they knew what they had. Jenna Meissner joined the PHL Morning News team in May of 2015, working as an intern, later a production assistant, and now as the morning traffic anchor. A local girl through and through, Jenna was born and raised in Media, Pennsylvania, attended the Academy of Notre Dame in Villanova for high school, and went on to graduate summa cum laude from Temple University's Lou Klein College of Media Communication, where she studied journalism with a specialization in broadcast. During her time at Temple University, Jenna won numerous awards and was inducted into the National Journalism Honor Society, Kappa Alpha. In addition to appearing on air every morning from 5 to 9 a.m., Jenna also does a lot of work behind the scenes, like editing visuals and audio, producing news packages, and writing morning's broadcasts. When Jenna's not working, you can find her out and about, exploring all the hot spots in the Philadelphia area and spending time with her growing family. It is my pleasure and my personal honor to announce this morning's keynote speaker, Jenna Meissner, morning traffic anchor from WPHL-17.
Thanks, John. This is John, everyone. He works with Channel 17. Thank you so much, Tracy, for that introduction, and good morning to everyone. She really put the highlight on the energy. I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning, so I'm going to try my best to bring that energy into this room this morning. I'm so happy to be here, and I feel right at home with the slides here. This is what my traffic clicker almost looks like, so basically the same thing. So as Tracy mentioned, see if I can get this to work right up. There we go, perfect. I was born and raised in Delaware County, Media, Pennsylvania. My mom's here too, so anything in Delco, she's always like, I'm coming with you. So she's over there, and Tate, my fiance, as well. So thank you two for coming. I know a lot of the things I'm talking about, they're gonna have no idea what I mean when I'm talking about traffic systems and things like that. But yes, so I was born and raised in Media, Pennsylvania. If you're familiar with Meissner Chevrolet, that was my father's business for a while, my father and my grandfather. So I've been around cars basically since I was born. Never did I think that I would be reporting on cars and traffic. That's kind of the path that led me here to PHL-17. I went to Academy of Notre Dame, as Tracy mentioned, and then I really expanded my horizons to a huge leap, half hour down a little road called 95, went all the way to Temple University. So as you can see, I'm a homebody. I really love this area. I live in this area now, and then work at PHL-17, which of course is in the city, a little bit outside of the city in West Philadelphia. So a little bit about my background. I studied journalism at Temple University. I followed the broadcast track, and that is where I was introduced into the internship at PHL-17. I worked that internship for about a summer, and I thought, you know, that was a great experience. Not sure if I'm going to be returning there. Of course, I would love a job there, but at the time there was nothing available. After I graduated, I got a call shortly after that I would be a production assistant. So basically that means I'd be doing anything and everything that the people that work there needed. I just wanted a foot in the door, and that was a great way to do it. That eventually led to traffic. So when I first started at PHL-17, it was a very small operation. We had an anchor and we had weather, and that was about it. It was a half-hour show. The anchor read the traffic reports. So what I did is I learned how the current traffic system worked, and I began behind the scenes, technically a traffic producer. I was making the graphics for her. I was letting her know the information that she needed, and that was going to air. Eventually, I approached our executive producer and I asked him if he would give me a shot. I knew how the traffic system worked. I knew how the green screen worked, and I would really love just to see what he thought of if I tried to be a part of the newscast. It worked. So I started on air in 2017. So yeah, it's been a ride since then. I've learned a lot about the roadways. for my family, this was something that was hysterical that I was doing traffic because I would get lost 10 minutes from home. I would always be going the wrong way, and now that I am in charge of telling people which way they need to go in the morning, that has become like a running joke amongst our family. So I'm just going to show you a little promo into PHL-17 as far as what we do in this next video. All right, so as you mentioned, PHL-17 is on from 5 to 9, I wish it was 5 to 9 a.m. And my duties consist of traffic reports that happen every 5 to 10 minutes. So it's very important that I'm constantly monitoring our traffic system, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what that traffic system looks like. I'll give you a view into what I'm able to see. But just a quick note here, PHL-17 really loves to play on the fact that I am from Delaware County, and so is our meteorologist, Monica Cryan. She was born and raised in media, and she still resides in media as well. So a lot of the times on the show, we're talking about Delaware County, we're talking about Delco, we're making references to things that people who live or work in Delaware County would understand. So that first picture there was a billboard that was running exclusively in Delaware County. So we were very happy to see that. And now we have a weekly podcast that we run, and it's basically people who have any sort of issue, they bring it to us and we give our advice on it. So if you think of like a Dear Abby, it's sort of like that, but in a more modern sense of a Dear Abby, as it's virtual, it streams online, so anybody can watch that. So yes, I'm very into Delaware County, and we like to bring that to the show. So now into the important stuff, things that you all probably care about. How do I get my information? So our primary source of information for what I use is from Total Traffic and Weather Network Philadelphia. Now, this is a ginormous traffic system that they have connections everywhere. I would say it's one of the leaders in the industry. So a few figures for you. They provide over 59,000 traffic reports, over 32,000 daily news broadcasts, and 194 million consumers of their information. So they have a hub in Ballackinwood. That's the home for all of their traffic editors. Now, I'm sure many of them are working from home at this point, but they are the ones that are working directly with talent within the Philadelphia area to give them the information they need to then go to air. So prior to Total Traffic and Weather Network, we were actually working with USTN, United States Traffic Network. They abruptly shut down one Friday afternoon in December. We had no warning. The show was over. We were all going off for our weekends. I got a call from my boss that USTN system will not be in effect on Monday, and we're going to have to figure it out from there. So, of course, I'll show you some other ways that I get my traffic that really helped me during that time when we were scrambling and looking for a new traffic system. And in the Philadelphia market, with the exception of at least one station, pretty much everyone is using Total Traffic and Weather Network. So the two screens you're seeing on the side, this is my view when I first get into work. Something that surprised a lot of people is I am the only person for traffic at PHL-17. I don't have a traffic editor. I don't have anyone there to help me make my graphics or decipher the information. It is me and me by myself. So I think that's definitely helped in the sense of really understanding problems on the roadways. As I'm not just presenting it, I'm actually learning about it and making those calls to people in different townships and seeing really what the problems are. So the first screen you see there, that's a quad box. The bottom right of that is what the traffic map looks like. Now this is just all of the elements as far as the graphics. If I wanted to change from night to day, if I wanted to zoom in and change the colors, that is a place where you can do that. And the bottom half, that is when you once go into the system there, you open that up and I have a word bank. That's those black columns there. And that word bank is where I pull from for maps that I have preset. So I don't just go in there completely blind, like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen today. I have a Delaware County map, Montgomery County, Chester County, Bucks County. I have travel times that are already pre-calculated for me and that updated in real time. So that's what those traffic editors are doing. They're watching the speed sensors, they're watching the cameras. they're listening to the scanners and they're updating those colors. So if the map goes from green to red, they've seen something and they are now updating that information for us in real time. This is what I have on a different computer. So I have two computers with me. That one there is where I make my graphics. This one is typically on a laptop that I have next to me. And this is what a screen will look like when I walk in. So lots of different colors. It was very overwhelming when I first started with this system to try to figure out exactly what these people in Kingwood are trying to tell me what's happening on the roadways. So basically, every traffic anchor can customize it to what they prefer. This is just the default screen there. Now I've made categories. If you take a look at the top bar, it says view, that says default. So I have made 3 separate categories into incidents, construction, and events. So basically you can click on whatever category you like and it'll narrow it down out of this huge list into things that are happening as far as incidents, things that are happening as far as construction, and the colors also indicate the severity of the situation. So I think on this one, it looks like we have a crash near the Betsy Ross Bridge. You can see that is in red. Yellow typically is construction. Orange is long-term projects that have been out there. So a lot of the times we're not really touching on the long-term construction unless it's causing a problem. People drive there every day. They know it's there. We don't need to tell them 10 times that they're going to see construction somewhere that they probably see it for the last year or years even. So a lot of these construction projects are very long-lasting. Green, construction or an incident, it can be either, but basically it means it's not impacting the roadway. So if it's a really slow day, when I go on the air at 5 o'clock in the morning, that's when I'm probably going to be pulling some of these green incidents just to say, hey, this is out there. It's not going to impact you though, but if you pass by, you may see some of that activity. So that's what that looks like. And the gray means it has cleared. So we no longer have to talk about it. It's out of the system. And the accident, whether it was blocking the roadway or was closing the roadway, it is now open. And if the roadway is closed, we don't have an example on this color scheme here, but that will be black. So that draws your eye immediately because it's black. And that means the roadway is closed and it's going to impact a lot of people. So this is what I look at as far as getting the information for what accidents I want to talk about. You can also sort by newest, oldest, or severity as well next to the default. So they give you really great options of how you want to narrow down the different reports to see what's most important, what's least important, and so forth. These are one of my favorite things in the world. So the 511 PA traffic cameras, anyone can go online and find these from PennDOT. The reason that I like these so much is because they make my job very efficient. So basically, the traffic system, of course, has the cameras built into it. So if I hit a little camera button, the whole map is going to show up with little blue squares of where I can find all the different cameras. Now, say there's a crash somewhere in Delaware County, and I want to get to that camera quickly without just clicking the blue squares and seeing which one is going to show me the crash. I pull this up. So basically, I have a bunch of tabs up in the morning with all the different cameras, and I can just hit next very quickly and go through and find exactly where that crash is without having to go onto the traffic system and finding out through the blue squares that aren't labeled. The labels is what's key here. And they're very quick as far as finding the crashes on these cameras. A lot of the times I'll see a crash on this camera before it comes in on my system. So I'll notice that the map has turned red, say 95 near the blue route. I see the red there and nothing's being reported, but clearly something's happening. I'll go right onto here and I'll look at the camera, and usually it'll not even be reported yet because there's not police on scene. There's nobody on scene yet that's really reporting this. So I love these traffic cameras. They really help me out in the morning. This is as far as social goes. So we're talking about technology. We're talking about this year, how everyone is connected now, whether it be through Zoom or whether you're on a Teams meeting, you're all connecting through different ways. So as far as social media goes, the 511 PA statewide Twitter account, also a very efficient and very accurate way to find accident scenes. So I have a list on Twitter where I can add all different counties, different police departments, and basically I will monitor this list to see if they're talking about anything that I should know. So that's why I think Twitter, especially, I know a lot of people think Twitter's dead. You don't use Twitter anymore. In the news world, of course we use it. But as an organization, I think Twitter is so important because these news people are going to Twitter to find out a lot of the information. So I will always find new accident scenes through the Twitter feed. And they're great about clearing them as well. As far as my traffic system, that gray color I showed you, sometimes it takes a little while for those to clear. And I can clearly see that the roadway is moving. This account will show you that it has cleared, and I will take that word because it's an official source there on Twitter. And again, it's much more efficient sometimes than the actual clearing from my personal tracking system. What you're seeing on the right here, this is called Slack. So this is a way to communicate with the traffic editor, Staffing Valley Kinwood. If I need more information about something, or I'm looking for more clarity on whether a crash or whether it be construction, I just pop into this group chat and I just send them a quick message, and they'll usually get back to me and let me know all of the information that they know. So that's an interesting way. It's a little bit like AIM, if you will, and they're usually on very early. So if I need their help in that sense, then I will just hop on and ask them a question. So as you can notice, the theme here, 511 PA is very helpful in gathering all of this information. One of my favorite things they do at the end of the week, so typically Thursday and Friday afternoons, we'll start to get bombarded with all of these emails regarding things that are going to be happening construction-wise. Of course, they're not going to email you a crash because that's pointless. It's probably going to be gone by the time anybody reads it. But they're going to email you about big construction projects that are happening in all of the different counties as well as Philadelphia. So I really like to see more information because the traffic system does not have all of this information. It's just going to say 76 eastbound is closed. Figure it out yourself why it's closed. So these emails have a lot of information. They help me prepare everybody for the week ahead. A big one that, of course, always talking about construction in Delaware County on 95 near the Blue Route if you're heading to the state line. That is just a little bit of a mess right now. So we're always getting emails about that specific construction scene. But again, this is just a way that I can add more information into my reports, because the more information I can give people, the more they're willing to understand why they're sitting in traffic for over an hour. It's a beautiful free screen. Thank you, John. So that was just an example of a traffic report that I typically have every single morning. As I mentioned, that construction is constantly happening on 95. It really doesn't matter what time of the day it is. Sometimes it's overnight. I drove through there yesterday. It's happening at 11 o'clock during the morning. So you can always guarantee that some sort of road work is happening there, 95, that stretch between 476 and into Delaware. A lot of work looks like it still needs to be done as far as the pavement. I know a lot of viewers are constantly talking about the conditions as far as potholes and things like that. So that has been one of the biggest problems, I would say, within Delaware County's traffic within the last couple of months here. But I have a few other problems. So we were kind of talking about this on social media, things that people feel are their biggest issues when it comes to traffic in Delaware County. And I'm sure there's a reason for this, and I'm sure that it's all scheduled meticulously and they do it for some sort of cause. But of course, it's the midday construction. It's gotta be what drives people the craziest. A lot of people always are writing in. They don't understand why they can't do some of these construction projects overnight when everyone's sleeping. Again, I'm sure there's a very meticulous schedule on what needs to be done at what point, but that, from my point of view, is the biggest complaints that I get. So some of those construction scenes on the Blue Route, if you're heading 476 southbound, that's a standstill some mornings after the morning rush as they're doing some of that pavement repair. Westchester Pike near 252, that's a huge problem for a lot of people who are traveling near the new shopping centers, or they have the Whole Foods and they have the Wawa there. I know a ton of people, I myself have gotten caught in that multiple times, and whenever I get caught in traffic, I'm mad at myself because I'm like, come on. You're getting caught in traffic right now? You probably talked about this all morning, and now here we are sitting here. Another one, Township Line Road. I know they've been working along Township Line Road where it meets Westchester Pike. That's an often one where I'm hearing complaints there as they're taking out one of the lanes approaching Westchester Pike right around lunchtime. So we're talking about those problems. It's not really crashes. I have to say, all week long, thinking about this event today, I was paying a close attention to Delaware County in particular as far as Philadelphia. Some of the problems, Delco this week, has been good. Not many crashes. We had one big crash this week. It was right through that construction I talked about earlier near Crimson Street. But as far as our crash teams, I think we're okay. It's really just the construction that's been the biggest problem for people who are traveling and commuting through Delaware County. So now, what can help? All right, so there's a few things that can help as far as how we can do our jobs in the morning. One of the most frustrating things for me is the cameras. As much as I love them, it's a love-hate relationship. A lot of the times these cameras are freezing. There's a point on the Schuylkill Expressway, so this is outside of Delaware County's range, but there's a big construction project, and that camera has not worked for well over a year now at this point. It's not a problem that I can fix. It's not a problem that the Total Traffic Network can fix. It's just the camera itself. So if you're going to have a major construction zone and you need to get this information out to people, you can't have a frozen camera because it's not updating in real time. I can't actually see what the roadway looks like, so I can see what the travel time is. But people like to see visual. They like to see what it looks like. They like to see at that moment, if they're getting ready to head out the door, how many cars am I going to see? So that's probably one of the biggest problems. Another problem is a lot of moving around of these cameras. So we'll have a crash, we'll have a great shot of it, we're ready to go to air, I step up there on the platform, it swings around. It's going on, it's showing me a tree sometimes. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? Let's get back to the crash. So constant moving around the cameras, and then zooming in on license plates. As much as I would love to know who's driving the car and who caused the crash, people don't need to know that. So if there's a shot and it's clearly showing the license plate, I'm typically not supposed to broadcast that. So that's been a problem for in the past there, as you know, they're showing these license plates, or they'll completely turn the camera off and they won't show us anything. Now, of course, I understand it's a very serious accident scene and there's things that cannot be across the air. Of course, we would not show that. But if it's not a serious accident scene, we want to see it. Again, people visually want to see what's happening out there. Those emails I also showed you that I really love that give all of that information, they only send them on Thursdays and Fridays. So I'm coming back from the weekend and they might have sent something that's happening on Monday and I completely forget about it because they sent it on Thursday. So there's going to be a huge closure and you think it's going to impact you, they need to send those emails, I think, day of, morning of. Earlier the better. I know not everyone wants to be up at that hour, but it will really help us out as far as getting the information to our viewers. More descriptive crash reports. As always, I feel like I'm always getting the runaround when I'm calling different police department and they're telling me to call someone else and then to call this person. All of this would be avoided if the crash reports that came in were more descriptive as far as if there's injuries, how long they think the road's going to be closed, why the road's been closed so long. A lot of times I'll just have the road and the intersection, and that's about it. So the more descriptive, the better. The more information I can give people, the happier they will be. Again, back to Twitter, response on social media. A lot of the times I'll ask SEPTA if they have a train that's not operating. I'll write to SEPTA and see if they'll answer me, and sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. So if you're not active on Twitter and you're one of these people trying to get information out about projects and you're trying to get information out about construction, you got to be active on Twitter. You can't have a tweet. If I go on the account and their last tweet was from 2019, I'm probably not going to go back to that account because it looks like they're not really active. So if you do have an account where you are putting stuff out, always respond to people who are asking for either more information or more clarity as far as what the project is that you're putting out. And lastly, the real-time clearing of crashes from the traffic system. Of course, that's a total traffic issue as far as that gray color when the crashes are gone. It would be great if they went immediately, so I'd stop talking about a crash that's been cleared for an hour now. But that's where the 511 Twitter comes in handy, and I really love that because they are pretty immediate in the clearing of their crashes. And that's the end of my slideshow. Somewhat informative and you feel like you learned from a traffic reporter on television, kind of the other side of it and what we're looking for and sources that we're going to. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.